Welcome, everyone. I am thrilled to have you here today. We are going to dive deep into a fascinating and highly practical topic, customizing Claude's tone and style. By the end of this session, you'll know exactly how to transform Claude from a standard AI assistant into a seamless extension of your personal voice or corporate brand. Let's get started. Let's kick things off by defining what we mean by tone and style customization. Every AI model has a baseline personality. For example, modern models like Claude 4.7 default to a very direct, crisp, and opinionated communication style. While this is great for general tasks, it might not sound like you or your brand. That's the what and the basics. Why does this matter? Because if you are generating client emails, marketing copy, or even internal code reviews, a generic AI voice can feel robotic and disconnected. By actively customizing Claude's style, you ensure absolute authenticity. How do we do it? We use specific descriptive adjectives, role-playing, and structured style guides. In our deep dive, think of tone as the emotional flavor of your text. When you tell Claude to be witty and empathetic, you are literally shifting the probability engine of the large language model to select words that fit that specific emotional profile. Take a look at this flowchart. On the top path, a generic prompt goes through the model's default weights, resulting in a standard AI tone, which often leads to lower engagement. But look at the bottom path, highlighted in green. When we inject a prompt combined with a style guide, we shift those internal weights. The result is a brand-aligned voice that guarantees high authenticity. Our goal today is to exclusively work on that bottom path. Now, let's explore the art of descriptive prompting. The baseline rule here is precision. You must move away from vague requests like, make this sound better. Better is subjective. Instead, you need to use precise adjectives, make it professional, concise, and approachable. Why? Because Claude interprets instructions very literally. If you are vague, Claude has to guess your intent, and it will default back to its how style. Here is a massive pro tip for the how and the deep dive. Always tell Claude what to do instead of what not to do. For instance, if you don't want bullet points, don't say, do not use markdown. Instead, use positive framing. Your response should be composed of smoothly flowing prose paragraphs. Positive framing creates a much stronger internal pathway for the language model to follow, resulting in a significantly more consistent output. This diagram breaks down our descriptive directives into three main branches. On the left, we have tone adjectives, like empathetic or formal. In the middle, we have structural rules, deciding if we want bullets, prose, or data formats like YAML. On the right is the critical concept of positive framing, always instructing the model to use X rather than don't use Y. Mastering these three branches gives you immediate, tactical control over Claude's responses. Let's move to a concept I call the voice preservation protocol. The goal here is simple. We want AI assistance, but we don't want to lose our soul in the process. Over-relying on Claude without style guidance dilutes your personal identity. To prevent this, we use a three-step framework. First, know your baseline. Second, direct the collaboration. Third, always do a final human polish. How do we execute this? You can actually ask Claude to perform a style analysis on your own writing. You take 3 of your best performing past emails or articles, paste them into the prompt, and ask Claude to analyze your unique vocabulary, sentence length, and pacing. Once Claude understands your specific rhythm, you instruct it to apply those exact parameters to all future drafts in that session. It's like training a personalized ghostwriter. Let's walk through the sequence diagram to see the protocol in action. The user starts by providing their own writing samples to Claude. Claude processes this and returns a comprehensive style analysis, capturing the tone and vocabulary. Armed with this mutual understanding, the user prompts a new topic, explicitly commanding Claude to use my style. Claude then generates a draft that seamlessly matches the user's unique voice. The sequence concludes with the user performing a final human polish to ensure perfection. We are now graduating to advanced territory, system prompts, and role-playing. So far, we've talked about guiding tone on a per-message basis. But what if you want Claude to adopt a persona permanently for a whole project? That is where system prompts come in. By assigning a role right at the start, like saying, act as a senior DevOps engineer, you create a foundational role. Why is this so powerful? Because it eliminates repetitive prompting. You don't have to remind Claude to be technical in every single message. Furthermore, role-playing provides implicit constraints. If you tell Claude, you are a cynical cybersecurity expert addressing absolute beginners, Claude will automatically drop the heavy jargon, adopt a cautious, protective tone, and use simple analogies. You get a massive behavioral shift from just one well-crafted sentence. This flowchart illustrates the profound impact of a system prompt. When you assign a persona at the top, it fundamentally alters Claude's internal state. This creates a three-pronged effect: a vocabulary shift, the words it chooses; a formatting shift, how it structures data; and a reasoning shift, how it approaches problems. All three of these branches converge to produce a highly cohesive, persona-driven output across your entire session. Let's take these concepts and apply them directly inside Claude Code. Claude Code has a phenomenal built-in feature specifically designed for this, called output styles. Output styles are formalized markdown files that dictate exactly how Claude should respond to you. They can be applied globally to your machine or isolated to a specific project folder. Why use them? Because it takes tone customization from a temporary hack and turns it into a reusable, team-wide communication protocol. You simply run /output style in the CLI to see your options. But the deep dive here is fascinating. When you select an output style, Claude Code literally swaps out parts of its underlying system prompt. It overrides its default software engineering personality and adopts the exact communication style, response format, and tone that you have defined in your style file. Looking at this architecture diagram, you can see how Claude Code resolves your styles. The CLI performs a scope check. It looks for styles globally in your home directory and locally in your current project directory. It finds files like global-style.md or project-style.md. Whichever style you select is then dynamically injected, ultimately generating the customized system prompt that governs your AI session. If you want to build your own output style in Claude Code, you need to understand its anatomy. Creating one is simple but requires structure. The file always begins with YAML frontmatter. This is just a small block at the top that contains a description, which is what shows up in your CLI menu. Below that, you write your instructions in standard markdown. Why go through this effort? Because hard-coding your brand voice into a file guarantees 100% consistency across every single session. As a senior expert, I recommend breaking your file into 3 distinct sections: communication style, how the AI talks; response format, how the data is structured, like requesting strict YAML or bullet points; and tone, how the message feels. You can even add workflow rules, commanding Claude to automatically save generated text into a specific file type. This class diagram breaks down the literal structure of the file you will write on your hard drive. The overall output style file is composed of 2 main parts. First is the frontmatter, which holds your metadata like the description. Second is the body, which houses your bulleted constraints for communication, format, and tone, alongside any advanced workflow directives. It's clean, modular, and highly effective. Let's put all this theory into a real-time, highly practical use case. Imagine a digital marketing agency that wants to use Claude Code to generate weekly client newsletters. The problem: Claude Code's default system prompt is optimized for software engineering. It is clinical, direct, and highly technical. If you ask it for marketing copy, it will sound like a developer wrote it. The solution is to create a custom project-level output style named marketing-upbeat.md. Inside this file, we lay down our constraints. We instruct Claude to use enthusiastic adjectives, limit paragraphs to 3 sentences, completely ban technical jargon, and format the final output as a ready-to-send HTML email. Now, anyone on the team can spin up Claude Code, select that output style, feed it a few rough bullet points, and instantly receive vibrant, brand-aligned marketing copy. We've bridged the gap between engineering tools and creative marketing. Follow the state transitions here to see the workflow transformation. We start in the default state, where Claude is stuck in its software engineer tone. The user then runs the output style command, transitioning the system into the marketing state by injecting our custom markdown file. From this new, highly creative state, Claude processes the user's rough bullet points and outputs the final, enthusiastic HTML copy. The system has been completely repurposed for a new domain. As we wrap up our training, let's cement some best practices. First, embrace iteration. Your first style guide won't be perfect. Test it, see where Claude sounds a bit off, and tighten your adjectives. Second, beware of conflicting rules. You cannot ask the AI to be a highly formal legal scholar and simultaneously tell it to use modern internet slang. It will confuse the model's logic. Third, aim for the Goldilocks zone. Give enough detail to set the tone, but don't write a 10-page style guide that chokes Claude's ability to reason dynamically. Finally, for enterprise users, commit your output styles directory to version control. This ensures your entire development or marketing team is speaking with one unified AI voice. Mastering tone customization truly turns Claude into a dedicated brand ambassador. Thank you for joining me today. I invite learners to like, subscribe, and visit quicktechie.com for premium certification prep, including Q&A banks, full ebooks, audiobooks, full-length training, and interview guides. See you next time. Our final diagram is your continuous improvement loop. You draft your style guide, then test it with Claude. You hit a decision gate. Does it sound right? If the tone is off, you loop back, refining your adjectives and rules. Once it hits that yes and sounds perfect, you break out of the loop, commit the file to version control, and achieve ultimate team-wide brand alignment. Keep iterating and your AI will sound flawless.